What if an entire town, every single man, woman, and child, just vanished? I'm not talking about some sci-fi movie, I'm talking about one of the earliest chapters in American history. For over 400 years, one mystery has absolutely captivated us, and that's the story of the lost colony of Roanoke.
So here's the core question we're diving into. In 1590, a whole community of 115 people, the very first attempt at a real English settlement in the Americas, disappeared. They were there, building homes, starting families, and then they were gone. I mean, completely gone. All they left behind was one single, very strange clue.
Just this one word, carved into a wooden post. That was it. No note, no bodies, no signs of a fight, just Croatoan. It's this incredibly eerie message that has literally echoed through the centuries, and it's the absolute centerpiece of this amazing historical puzzle.
Now, to really understand what this clue means, you have to see it through the eyes of the colony's governor, a man named John White. He had been away in England for 3 incredibly long years, and when he finally got back, well, what he found was just deeply unsettling.
So when White's ship lands, the whole scene is just weird. Yeah, there was a defensive wall built around the settlement, but inside, the houses weren't burned down or anything. They were carefully taken apart. His own trunks had been broken into, but, and this is so important, there were no bodies, no skeletons, no evidence of any kind of battle. This was not a scene of a massacre. And that's when he saw it, the word Croatoan carved on a post and just the letters Crow on another tree. And here is the twist that so many people miss. For John White, Croatoan wasn't some spooky mystery. It was a message. You see, before he left, he told the colonists that if they had to move for any reason, they should carve their destination into a tree. And he said if they were in danger, they should carve a Maltese cross above the name. Well, there was no cross. This word meant they had simply gone to Roanoke Island, what we now call Hatteras Island, which was the home of their Native American ally, Manteo. So if he knew where they went, why do we call them lost?
To really get to the bottom of this, we need a little bit of backstory, because this 1587 settlement, well, it wasn't England's first rodeo at Roanoke.
Right, so the first attempt back in 1585 was basically a military fort. It was all men, and things went south with the local tribes pretty fast, ending in violence and a full evacuation. But the 1587 colony, the one that vanished, was totally different. This was supposed to be a real town, a permanent home. It had women and children, entire families who were there to build a new life, not just man a fort.
And this is the part that really humanizes the whole story and makes it so tragic. Just a few weeks after they landed, Governor White's own daughter gave birth to a baby girl. Her name was Virginia Dare, the very first English child born in the Americas. I mean, her birth was this huge symbol of hope, a brand new beginning, a hope that was about to be thrown into complete and total chaos.
So, this brings us to the big, crucial question. If John White knew the colonists had moved to Croatoan Island, why didn't he just sail down the coast and find them? Well, the answer is a heartbreaking mix of war, global politics, and just some really, really bad luck.
3 years. Just let that sink in for a second. 3 whole years. Can you imagine leaving your family, your daughter, your newborn granddaughter, thinking you'll be back in a few months, and then being stuck an ocean away for 3 agonizing years, just wondering every single day if they're okay or if they're even alive?
What happened was that White's quick return trip got blocked by a massive historical event, the war with the Spanish Armada. England needed every last ship to defend the homeland. A couple of smaller ships tried to sneak out with supplies in 1588, but they got attacked by pirates of all things and had to limp back to port. It wasn't until 1590 that White finally managed to hitch a ride back on a privateering ship.
And this is the final, soul-crushing twist in the story. After he found the Croatoan message, White was all set to sail to the island. But then, a monster storm rolled in. The ship's main anchor cable snapped, they almost crashed onto the shore, and the ship's captain, who wasn't willing to risk his vessel anymore, just said, "That's it, we're done," and he sailed for home. John White never saw his family or his colony ever again.
And after that failed search, the trail went ice cold. For decades, the fate of those 115 people became a ghost story, a piece of unfinished business on the edge of this vast new continent.
For the next 100 years, all you get are these confusing whispers. The colonists down at Jamestown heard rumors from Chief Powhatan about people who look like them living in other villages.
But then, they also heard a much darker story, that Powhatan himself had slaughtered the colonists. Fast forward to 1709, and an explorer visits Hatteras Island, the original Croatoan, and meets native people who have gray eyes, and oral traditions about being descended from white people. So what was it? Did they blend in, or were they wiped out?
All of these conflicting clues have, as you can imagine, led to a whole bunch of theories over the years. So let's run through the main suspects for what really went down.
So what happened? The theories really boil down to a few big possibilities. Did they just integrate with a local tribe like the Croatan? Or were they attacked, either by Powhatan's powerful confederacy or maybe even a Spanish ship trying to snuff out England's claim? Then you have the disaster theories. Maybe they got desperate, tried to sail home in a small boat and were lost at sea. Or maybe they moved inland and got wiped out by a massive, years-long drought that tree ring data tells us was hitting that exact area at that exact time. Today, the most widely accepted theory is assimilation. It just makes the most sense. The Croatoan carving points right to their friends on Hatteras Island. It's totally plausible that they just joined them. They became part of the Croatan community, intermarried, and their Old English life slowly faded away. In fact, some modern tribes in North Carolina, like the Lumbee people, have long-standing oral traditions that they are the descendants of the Roanoke colonists. And if that's true, it's a huge shift in perspective. The colony wasn't lost, it survived. It just became something new.
And that kind of brings us to today. Archaeologists are still digging, finding little bits of 16th century European pottery on Hatteras Island. Geneticists are trying to trace DNA links between modern tribes and the descendants of the English colonists. So the big question is still out there. Can modern science finally crack America's oldest cold case? Or is the fate of the lost colony just one of those secrets that history is determined to keep?